talk promoting successful business experts, connecting people throughout the world from my podcast studio in Brazil. Joining us today from San Diego, California, Gregory Shepard, CEO at startupscience.io, nurturing technology startups from seed to Series A, and also author of The Startup Lifecycle. So Gregory, a lot of talk about failure, but why do startups succeed?
Startups succeed primarily because of the opposite of the same reasons why they fail. So overvaluation is one of them. So instead of coming in with a super high valuation, they come in with a low valuation and make it up over the long tail. That's one of the things. Another reason is because they will go out and hire a management team that are executives, and those executives hire other people, and that increases cost. Another one is standardization. So this is a big reason companies buy other companies because they want a synergy. And there's two types, either a synergy to make or save money. And this is the biggest reason why they fail, is that they don't start out with the end in mind. So if you think about it, you would never build a product without having a customer. And if your whole company is essentially a product to your acquirer, why would you build a company without having an acquirer, just like from the beginning, just like you would have a product customer match from the very beginning? So this is like one of the primary things. They get out to the end and then they try to find a buyer at the last minute.
But you say overvalued, but the key I hear is, how do you value? How do you create value?
Yeah, I mean, typically there are some in startup science, we have classes that actually say companies that are between this stage and this stage are typically valued between this much and this much, right? But the big mistake that a lot of founders make is they will sit there and say, I raised $1 million and my company was worth $1 million. So now my post money, after money valuation is $2 million. But the investors are looking for 10x that, right? So now you have to sell it for 12 million. Not 2 million, right? So they think they don't understand the return concept. So the next investor down the line looks at the valuation and says, oh, now we raised another million. So now there's 3 million. So it's a $4 million post money, right? After the investment. But now that guy also wants to make 10x, right? So quickly you can see how you can get to a point where it doesn't appear as if it's overvalued. And a lot of founders don't know why they can't raise money. But the truth is because there's no room for the arbitrage. You know, there's no room for the profit in between.
And so that's really the step towards growth actually becomes more complicated from just a question of having more people on board to do more things.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, you know, you should do as much as you can with as little money as possible and wait as long as you can before you take on money. Most of the startups that fail, the number one reason is because of bad decisions, and bad decisions came from bad advice. So I'd like to you have to be really careful who you actually take advice from and make sure that's
in life and anything, right?
Yeah, but I'm talking about specific areas. Right. So if you're getting advice from valuation, you want somebody that understands this thoroughly. If you're getting advice on your go-to-market strategy, you want to make sure you're talking to somebody that understands that. Right. So it's not general advice. It's very specific niche advice.
And really, it's a step-by-step is where you are in your process.
Yeah, there's 7 stages in the startup life cycle based on my 5-year research on founder failure and success. And each one of those stages comes with the things that you need to have or need to understand in that stage. It's all in the Startup Lifecycle book.
Well, 2 things. I can see what you're saying in success is not necessarily just getting the money, but I also see, looking from your experience, what you call achieve optimal exit.
Yeah. And optimal exit means that all the parties involved made what they expect to get, including the founder. Which is, again, why you need to start with the end in mind. You need to start, when you start your business, you need to know, these are my acquirers, these are their customers, to make sure that your customers and their customers match. This is how much they're accustomed to paying for companies, so you don't overvalue your company, right? Otherwise, you get to the road and you're like, I want 100 million, but all your acquirers have never bought anything for 25 million. So it's not realistic. But that's something you need to know in the beginning, not something you want to know right at the end when you're sitting there at the home stretch.
And then there's no exit. That's failure.
Right, 100%. Or you do what people do oftentimes, which is they cover up a failure by going IPO.
And then that's another whole book, right?
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. Yeah.
But seriously, what we want is for people to find the book, The Startup Lifecycle, understand from you what you've written about how to make it a success.
Yeah, I mean, the book took me 4 years, and that was after 5 years of research.
Mm-hmm.
It's really packed with real information. It's very pragmatic. You know, it's not one of these books like you read a lot of these books where you walk away and there's no action items. You're just sitting there going, that was fascinating and really good information. But
what do I do with it today? Right. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I wrote this so that there are things that you can actually do. Mm-hmm. Like you'll read a chapter and go, I can do this right now. Right. And it's broken out by each stage of the life cycle. So you can find your place in the life cycle, which it helps you do. And then it gives you the actual action items.
And the action items, you know, you have to take action. It's not something you just sit around and watch.
Yeah, I mean, execution is key, right? If you can't actually make it happen through execution, then you will fail 100%.
Well, also from the investor standpoint, they want to see how you act. They want to see movement.
They want to see movement, and they want to see not just movement, but progress.
Right.
And what they're really after most of the time is they want to see predictable evidence that you're going to be successful over time, and they want to see probability. So they want to know how probable is the success, how probable is the exit, and then how predictable is the business. So probability and predictability. And
those are not secrets, but that's what you're sharing.
Yeah, I mean, that's the part of the big key when you're talking to investors, right? An investor puts in money for a payoff, right? So the things that are in their mind that they won't tell you is when they want to know, when am I going to get my money back?
Right.
And they want to know how much I'm going to get back. Those are the two things. And now you combine those two questions with probability of I'm going to get my money back on this date and I'm going to get this much money back, and predictability, which means, to your point, that it's being executed and moving forward. So it becomes more predictable.
Well, it's a show and tell and do.
100%. Yeah. Very, very well said.
Very good. Well, Gregory, how can our listeners find you and find the book?
They can find the book in all the bookstores or Amazon. It's called The Startup Lifecycle, The Definitive Guide from Idea to Exit by Gregory Shepard. My website also has the book and all my socials and everything about me. It's GregoryShepard.com. So GregoryShepard.com.
Very good. Well, thanks for sharing, and success.
Thank you.
And for our listeners, again, you can find more information. It's Gregory Shepard. Find him on LinkedIn and GregoryShepard.com, where you can find the book, The Startup Lifecycle. Cafe Networking is brought to us by Focus MI Market Intelligence, an agricultural market research specialist in Brazil. More information at focusmi.com. Talk to Tom, talk to the world. Thanks for listening. Till the next time here at Cafe and Networking Podcast.